From jumping out of helicopters to Rocky Mountain gold panning, from living the 9-to-5 life to blazing his own trail, find out how one guy created his own gold rush. Welcome to Purgatory. What's going on, freaks and freakettes? I'm Spike.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks so much for tuning back into the show. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you want to support the show, check out the link in the description. You can pledge to the show via anchor.fm. And give us a like, share, wherever you're hearing us. Help us grow. We're just getting started. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think, because we love to hear from listeners. If you want to reach out via email, officialpurgatorypodcast@gmail.com. Getting all that out of the way, today we are joined by an awesome guest. This man served in our military. We really appreciate his service. He got out. He decided he wanted to start prospecting for gold in the Rocky Mountains because, why not? Who doesn't want to do that, right? And he recently passed 83,000 subs on YouTube, so congratulations for that. But please welcome Shane from the Klesh Guitar YouTube channel. How's it going today, buddy?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome to finally get you on the show. I know I've been bugging you on email for quite a while, and getting you on the show now, it's just really awesome to hear your voice, and not just in a video, like we're actually talking to you.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
Yeah, so tell us about you. I know that you were airborne, right?
That's correct. So, I was Army 82nd Airborne Division, and you said it kind of like, from the Army directly to prospecting for gold, but there was like, a 20-year gap between that, so.
Yeah, I may have embellished a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot in between going from that to where I am now. I just worked
like you're doing it.
Yeah. I worked a regular 9-to-5 factory. Well, not 9 to 5. It was like 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. night shift nonsense, that nobody really enjoys, but you have to do it sometimes to survive.
Yeah.
So, I was doing that for a while, and my military injuries sort of caught up with me, working, just walking on concrete floors and emptying train cars and all that stuff kind of caught up with me. My doctors basically took me out of work and said I have the back of an 80-year-old man. And even though I'm only, I was 30-something at the time, I was like, well, I'm not going to let that stop me. Nobody tells me I can't work. So started doing it, doing it
for yourself, right?
Doing it like I am now, yeah.
That's awesome. It's too bad the doctors never tell you have like the legs of a 30-year-old supermodel or something like that,
Yeah.
That's what I always want to hear. Once I hear a doctor say that, my life is peaked.
For sure.
Yeah. So now you started your YouTube channel as a guitar, like a music channel, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, sort of. I'm not a very good guitar player. I was more interested in the physics of how a guitar works. So I used my military money. This is where we get into the story, between leaving the military and where I'm at now. When I got out of the military, I did go to college, and, I moved around a lot. So a lot of my credits never transferred. So I kind of gave up on the academic side of things.
Yeah.
And I still had like a year left of military money left for college. So I decided, I'm going to go learn a trade. And I moved down to Phoenix to a guitar making school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's called Roberto Venn School of Luthery. I used the rest of my GI Bill for that, and I became a guitar maker. And I traveled all over the place being a guitar maker and repairman. And
dude, that's badass. Like who can do that? You know what I mean?
There's not many of us out there. It's one of the black arts that are still around.
Yeah. That'd be something I'd be interested in talking with you further about, buying a custom guitar from you.
Sure. Well, that's another podcast. I could go into it.
Yeah, we could talk about that
now,
all day, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool, learning a trade. I saw a YouTube video that was like a doctor versus plumber, who's more wealthy at 40 based on like debt and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And the plumber was like far wealthier than the doctor, because the doctor still had like $500,000 in debt, and the plumber was just making bank with no debt,
Yep. Learning a trade is awesome.
And there's a huge shortage of tradesmen now. Everybody, I also read that, I am in college. I'm about to finish my degree, but my company's paying for it. So it's basically free. So I'm like, why not?
Sure.
If you can get it free, absolutely go to college. But I read this paper about how the value of a college degree has gone down, and basically but the cost has gone up. So basically, it's a wash. It's basically zero, like the value of it. You know what I
It
mean?
depends. It depends on the person too. If you're not a hands-on type person, college might be something for you. If you're a hands-on type, like I have to work with my hands, so
Yeah.
it was kind of like one of those things where trade was made more sense anyway.
Well, then you moved out to Colorado, and I love Colorado. I have some family that lives there, and we actually did a podcast recently about the Denver airport conspiracy, and Mad went through your channel and saw that you had done a video about it as well, so that was kind
Yeah.
of cool. But so you moved out there, and now I saw that you make most of your money on YouTube and through super chats and donations and stuff like that, and that you're working for yourself, you're panning for gold, you're running your YouTube channel, you're about to go to Alaska, to the Yukon, to do this
Yeah.
gold project.
Yeah.
And how did you just go from guitar guy to I'm gonna go prospect for gold now? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah. So it was just a decision, pretty much. I was working like I said, I was working 6 to 9 a.m. over in Pennsylvania in a factory, and it just sucked, man. And
Yeah.
it caught up with me, and moved out to Colorado. Long story short, I moved out to Colorado. It wasn't working when I got here. I drove a Lyft for a while and stuff, and
Hmm.
just try to make ends meet because it's way more expensive out here than it is back east.
Yeah.
And luckily, I had some savings, and I didn't own any real camera equipment or anything, but I just what was I doing? I was on my way. I was doing something, and I ended up in a metal detecting store over in Golden, a little shop called Gold N Detectors.
That's
And I
the
stopped.
best name of all time.
Yeah, Gold N Detectors in
Yeah.
Golden, Colorado. It was perfect. But I walked in there and I was like, looking around at stuff. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I saw gold pans, and I asked the guy, Bill, I asked him, I was like, hey, I guess you can pan for gold around here or what? And he's like, yeah, man, you could go right down the street and pan for gold right here down the street. I was like, wow, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So I went out, I bought a gold pan, went out for maybe 20 minutes and found a little bit of gold. I was like, this is pretty cool, And then so I just started bringing, what I do. I went on Craigslist, bought a GoPro for like $60 or something, an old used one, and just started putting stuff on YouTube. And yeah,
The rest is history, right?
yeah.
Or the rest
Just
is
kept,
current experience because you're running this thing right now. Your
It's
channel's
true.
growing as we speak,
and it's all about consistency. Just keep putting content out there, and people will eventually catch on and enjoy what you're doing. As long as you enjoy what you're doing, it'll come through in the camera. That's
Yeah.
what I believe anyway.
Yeah, what I notice is that you see some successful vlog, like look at PewDiePie. His videos he always jokes about how his camera is not good quality, and it's not. He's like 720p in his
Yeah.
camera, but people just like him. People don't tune
Sure.
in for 4K quality. People tune in for PewDiePie.
That's
know?
right.
So that's what we were kind of hesitant about, is like, well, do we need X amount of dollars to get a certain rig? And we both were like, let's just buy $100 rigs, and it sounds pretty good. It's not $1,000 recording studio or $10,000 recording studio, but let's just start making content,
Sure.
And
Yep.
we post twice a week, and we're coming up on 20 episodes, and so we're getting better at this, And
Mhm.
now that we're having better guests on, we're hoping that we can gain more traction, because it can be discouraging at times as a small creator when you don't see rubber meeting the road,
Sure.
I want to break the serious questions a little bit, and because this is kind of part of our shtick is in interviewing is, so I hand you a 5-quart pail of Neapolitan ice cream, right? You open
Yeah.
that lid, you got your vanilla, your chocolate, and your strawberry. Which flavor are you going for first?
Probably like a mix between the chocolate and the vanilla. And
Oh man,
yeah.
We got an
trailblazer
expert.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I've never had that before. Everybody's like, probably chocolate. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the first thing that I thought of. Kind of just like, get a nice big scoop of that, put it in a cup and mix it up and make a shake out of it. Oh,
Man, this guy's next level. Like those the soft serve machines at like a Chinese restaurant. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, Matt, I've kind of been taking up the mic here. You got any questions for Shane?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like one thing I wanted to say was that I actually like just really enjoyed your channel.
Cool.
When Spike told me that we were gonna have you onto the show, I kind of went on there. And I was already interested because he said like gold prospector, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty badass. And I was actually like surprised with like how much good content you have. You know what I mean? Like you're one of those channels that I can just binge. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think I spent a good weekend just watching all of your videos.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
No, yeah, I honestly loved it because at the beginning you have like this like cool like you're kind of showing like guitar making and like guitar repairs, and then you have these like dope like 90s VHS videos of you like jumping out of helicopters.
Yeah.
That looks so like badass. I thought that was so cool.
Cool.
And then like you just have like awesome like gold prospecting videos, and I love watching those videos where people like go into like swimming holes and like find things.
Yeah.
And you had some of those, so I was
Yep.
like, thoroughly excited.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot more to come, man. I mean, I just got my scuba open water certification. So there's going to be some like deep underwater, like real treasure hunting, like pirate ship type stuff
Oh,
coming
wow.
up. Hopefully within the next, before the end of the year for sure.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
you should watch our podcast we did on the ancient aliens about all the stuff that from the ancient alien show that's hidden in South America.
Yeah.
you gotta go there and dive
Oh,
down
definitely.
there.
Oh yeah, dude. I would definitely check it out as long as it's legal. You know,
Yeah.
I like to make sure that everything's legal, and safety is not my top priority. If you ever notice my footwear in my videos, it's usually a pair of sandals out in the desert or gold mines in Australia or wherever. I don't care about personal safety too much. However,
You just gotta show the
I got to make sure it's
rattlesnake
legal to do.
Gotcha. Have you ever gotten in trouble, like with the police or maybe like someone else, like you're on their property or whatnot?
Yeah, so I've gotten close one time, and I probably shouldn't have been there. And it's on YouTube. It's I think it's titled something like "Abandoned Farmhouse in the Middle of Nowhere" or something like that. I was out in this abandoned farmhouse, and I'm searching around, looking around, and there was nobody there. The doors were wide open. There was cobwebs all over the inside of the house, and I decided to just go ahead in there. And turns out that the cops didn't want me in there. So I'm basically, just walking out from behind the building. I'm like, oh yeah, you're talking to the camera. And next thing I look up and there's the cops just like, hey buddy, why don't you come over here for a minute? I'm like, oh boy, here's the cops. They were really cool with it. They're just like, yeah, the owners don't like people snooping around here, stuff like that. I was like, yeah, man, whatever. I'm out.
Yeah.
No arguments or, other than that, really no trouble or anything. No.
I was gonna say one of my favorite parts is in like the Denver airport where you're like recording like the horse, the Lucifer horse.
Oh, that
And
one too. I forgot about that.
You're like, oh, I'm getting a ticket, and like you start
Yeah.
running.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I forgot about that one. Yeah, you're not supposed to go by the Lucifer. You're supposed to stay away.
Because it's a murderer.
You guys probably know it. You probably know that Lucifer killed its owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
insane.
I was standing right where the owner probably was standing when he got killed, but not
Yeah.
right, in the same approximation to the horse,
That's
Crazy.
just great. It is crazy, man. But something else I thought was funny was I watched some of your viral videos, and your golden bucket, your nugget bucket video had over 1.5 million views, and you went and you disliked it.
Yes.
You just
Yeah, it
went
sucked.
thumbs down. I was like, this guy is a madman.
It's true. That video sucks. However, that was my most popular video when I was filming. So I did have it liked at one point, and I was just like, you know what? This video isn't the best. This new video is going to be better. So I just clicked it, disliked it. I edited it in, I cropped in as I was disliking it to show everybody. And a
Yeah.
lot of people caught on to it just like you did. That, yeah, I disliked my own video.
I just thought it was funny as hell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you try to make viral videos, or are you more focused on building a steady viewership?
Definitely just a steady viewership, I think. I do have some clickbaity-ish titles, although it's not really considered clickbait unless it's false. But I try to make them, obviously you want to make your thumbnail look as best as possible for people to click on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I look at a thumbnail. Would I click on this? I'll even go as far as zooming it all the way out so it looks really small on my screen to see if I can see what it is, if I could read the words that I put on there, if there's any words on it,
Yeah.
But viral videos are good, man, for sure. But I'd rather just have my regular audience that comes in and watches my videos. I usually get about 10,000 views per video that I put out. It's not a lot, but it's still more than 10%. Sorry, more than 10% of my audience that watches each video. So that's good.
Yeah, I also noticed that like you have like particularly like really good comments. You know what I mean? There's never any hate that I've seen so far. People are usually like interested or like they think it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's I'm not one to delete comments either.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you see on there is what people say. So yeah, really think about it. What bad stuff can you say about it? Some dude going out in the middle, playing in the water, like, oh, we hate you, like, what,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, true to that. The way I look at comments, because I have a separate channel,
mm-hmm.
and like I want comments. You know what I mean? Like I don't even care if it's hate comments, because it's like it's just criticism. You know what I mean? It's man. It helps you get better. But yeah, I mean, that's just something that I took away from like reviewing your channel or whatnot. Now, do you have like, I don't know, like maybe like a scary story, or like maybe like someone was like, have you ever like went into like another prospector that was kind of like, hey man, this is my territory, or you know what I mean, or maybe some kind of like situation where you felt like in danger?
Yeah. So let's see. Okay. Never ran in with any other prospectors or anything like that that were angry or going to shoot me or anything. The closest I came, one of my viral videos, it's called finding $800 worth of rare mushrooms on a Colorado mountainside or something like that. During that video, we were filming, and it was me and this other dude, Ross. His YouTube channel is called Outdoors Inspired. Well, we were walking up to, I don't want to give away the location, obviously, it's for these mushrooms, and it's still a good spot, but we're walking up the mountainside, and we're probably 9,000 feet elevation, and we come across this clearing, and Ross already knew it was there, and he told me about it. He's like, yeah, we're getting ready to come up on the grow. I'm like, what? We go up to this place. It was this big clearing of the mountain, and they had all the trees ripped down and like a big circle around it, like a big barrier, so the deer couldn't get in, and they had PVC pipe, like water lines going, like it was a marijuana grow, but it was a cartel one. So basically, if there was any action going on up there, like as far as a grow, the cartel doesn't care, man. If they know that you've seen their grow, they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
So like, he's like, yeah, we got to be careful up here because this is where the grow is. I'm like, okay, we start walking up and there's nothing growing, but we could see their little shack, and you could see that they were there last year, and you can see like all kind of clothes and cans of food and everything laying around up there. It's creepy, It was it's a big grow up there too. So that's like the closest, scariest, I think, thing. I hope that answers your question.
No, yeah, I mean that sounds like sketch. That just sounds so creepy. And then this guy just led you up there, like, all right, man, just gotta be careful.
Yeah. Just be careful. There's a cartel up here growing weed on this mountainside, and like, oh, okay.
Well, that's like an experience you probably never would have had working in a factory, So it's at the time you're probably like, we are gonna die, but then looking back, you can laugh at it being removed from it. So it's cool that you're doing that, and you're making memories like that you never would have made before.
Dude, it beats working for somebody, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the goal. That's definitely the goal.
Yeah, for sure.
It certainly is. I travel the world for a job now, so it's like the doctors tell me I can't work. Oh yeah, watch this.
That's really cool. Now, I also watched one of your videos that said that you make most of your money from your social media and your YouTube and stuff. Is there a legitimate living in just gold prospecting? Like only gold prospecting?
That's nobody's ever really asked that, but I can tell you depending on the equipment that you own. Now you're going to end up spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment just to make a living on, and it's not an easy living, man. You're going to break your back trying to make a living, even if you have the right equipment.
Mhm.
You know, what I do, I don't know if you've noticed in my videos, but I find very, very small amounts of gold. Like I find, usually my average when I go out is a couple cents worth of gold. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like, absolutely, my ad revenue, the Google ad revenue, they pay the bills. My
Right.
views, ads and everything, that pays the bills for sure. I have Patreon, that definitely helps a lot. And so like, yeah, obviously, sometimes I'll drive. Well, I shouldn't even say that. Sometimes I'll travel across the planet to like Australia and get $20 worth of gold, after spending,
Right, yeah, they're
stupid
definitely
amounts of
in the
money to
hole.
get there and stay there for a week. And, so yeah, you can make money panning for gold. I shouldn't say panning for gold. You can make money mining for gold with the correct equipment, but doing what I do, no way, man. Not unless you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, that's cool that you're taking something that you love that's essentially a hobby, because you're
Yeah.
telling us you're not making much money and you're turning your hobby into a living. So that's really
Correct.
cool. Now,
Correct.
how much has monetizing your hobby, has it ruined it for you at all? Has it become a job and like, I got to get
No.
up and do this today?
And that's the thing. Like the name of my channel is Klesh Guitars, and it was originally started to be a guitar repair thing, but that allows me to kind of keep it open ended. I just recently released a woodworking video. I refinished my tabletop and I put a Colorado flag on it, and that's kind of like the direction. I'm still gonna do treasure hunting and world travel and everything,
Mhm.
and it'll never get old. But what I really really enjoy and what started the channel is guitars and woodworking. So I would like to integrate more of that woodworking stuff into my YouTube channel. Whether people like it or not, really, it doesn't matter. I do what I enjoy, and it'll still come through in the videos, I think.
Yeah, it definitely does.
People still tune in.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for like your videos are very good. They're done well, but you're not on like
Thank you.
$100,000 set.
No.
You're not spending a tremendous amount for lights and a Red Dragon camera and all this stuff. Like you can make great videos that people want to watch
Sure.
with, I mean, you probably have good equipment, but you're not gonna film a Marvel movie,
Right. So like what you're hearing my voice through, this is like my most expensive piece of equipment. my audio studio. I think it's important. Like when I've noticed when I first started even watching YouTube videos, one of the things that'll make me click off of a video right away is not even poor audio quality, but mediocre audio quality. If I can't understand what the person's saying, if it's not clear, then I'm just like uninterested.
Right.
I have problems hearing, so one of the things is I need to hear what you're saying. So.
Well, and it's just the proof is in the pudding with the fact that people don't even really care visually. I mentioned the PewDiePie thing before, but podcasts are 100% audio, and there's
Especially-
a strong viewership there.
Yeah.
So people
Especially for
are.
you guys.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you again.
No, that's fine.
But there's definitely proof that people care much more about about what they're hearing,
Yeah.
And I feel like communication, social media, blah blah blah, it's being cheapened because we communicate so much by text now.
That's true. That's true.
Communicating by voice and just talking to people. People don't talk to people as much anymore as they used to. And that's what's kind of cool about your channel is you're talking into the camera directly. You're like, come with me. I'm going to take my GoPro. I'm going to take you with me. I'm not going to go do it and then come back and talk about it in the studio. I'm going to take you. We're going to dive in this river together. We're going to do this together.
That's it, man. Yep. You just said it right there. It's like, there's kind of a template to my videos almost where, it'll start out with me. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm out in the middle of nowhere, going to fall down a mountain. Here's the equipment I'm bringing, and let's see what we can find,
That's really cool.
I was going to say, you're like the only guy I know who seems to be using a GoPro for the purpose of a GoPro, Like you're taking it out with you, you're being rough with it, you're throwing it in some water, Whereas
running
like
over it
people
with my truck and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Whereas people are like they think that they can use it as like a vlogging camera. You know what I mean? Like kids
Yeah.
want to be vloggers using it, but I think
Yeah.
like you're actually using it for the purpose, which I really like. And I also love like one of my favorite things is that you're in Colorado, so like the scenery behind you just looks like magnificent.
Yeah. And you know what? I think if I ever moved, I would probably lose half my subscribers just because of where I live, man. It's so nice here, dude. It is really, I look out my balcony, I can see the mountains. It's like, dude, no wonder it's so expensive, you know?
Yeah. We live in the Kansas City area, so you can live here super cheap, at least relative to other places. You know, like my brother was living in Seattle for a while.
Yeah.
And I just bought a house here when he was living there, and I was like, I paid like 120 grand, and he was like, what? That would be like $500,000 here, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's just crazy how rich you have to be to live in
the city.
places.
Yep. And my brother also lives in Seattle. You know, he rents though. You know, because you can't. You have to be a millionaire to buy a house anymore. Like in the city, you know. But I'm originally from Northeast Pennsylvania, and like there was houses up there for 60 grand, 70 grand. You know, it's like something the size of that out here in Denver would, like you said, $500,000 easy.
Yeah, my cousin lives in Denver, and he is he works for a real estate company, and he just takes pictures of houses and like drones around houses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's his whole job. So he travels all around Colorado.
Neat.
And he's like, hey, and he does like really expensive houses, like $3-4 million mansions and stuff. And he'll be like, yeah, I'm taking pictures of this mansion up in the mountains, and he'll have this crazy picture of him on the mountain. And I'm like, that's so cool. You're doing that for a living, you know?
Yeah, it really is. It's like a postcard every day when you look out the window here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're going to go into a quick break.
Cool.
And on the other side, we're going to ask Shane a few more questions. How's it going, everybody? This is Spike from the Purgatory Podcast. When Matt and I decided to start this podcast, neither one of us knew kind of where to start or how to distribute it to different platforms. And that's when we came across the Anchor app. Now, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast because they give you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your computer or your phone. Different creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. And this was the kicker for me. They'll distribute your podcast with no minimum listenership to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and several more. Now, there's really only one more thing left for you to do if you're looking to start a podcast, and that's get out your phone, open your laptop, download the Anchor app, and go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, Matt and Shane, welcome back from the break. You guys still there? Everybody awake?
Here.
Good. If you can't tell, we edit after the fact.
Hey, that works.
Yeah. But getting right back into it. All right, we're going to go back to kind of the ice cream format here. So I just cooked a wonderful breakfast. We're all sitting down at the table, and I say, hey, Shane, waffles or pancakes?
Oh, pancakes with real maple syrup, of course.
There you go.
Now we're talking.
Well, yeah. I think you're right that the conversation is more about is it real syrup and not even as much about pancake or waffles when you say that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's got to be. It can't be that cornstarch or corn syrup poison that they try to sell at Walmart. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even think I had real maple syrup until I was like 17. And I was like, what?
I hear you.
Nectar of the gods.
Stuff is so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife was like, where do you think you want to go for vacation? And I was like, you know what? Vermont. She's like, what the hell's in Vermont? I was like, what's not in Vermont? Syrup's there.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so cool. That's a place you should go dig for gold just to have unlimited maple syrup on tap.
Well, I did a video in Vermont in April, and it was a month too early because when I used to live in Pennsylvania, I used to drive up to Vermont, 8-hour drive just the first week of May every year just to pick fiddlehead ferns. I don't know if you know what they are, but they're basically the unraveled fronds of the ostrich fern, and they're like the most delicious thing in the world. Basically, like a mix between spinach and like artichoke, I guess. asparagus. Yeah, they're awesome. But anyway, back on track, I guess.
So, well, that's really cool. I'm glad that's kind of going to segue me into my next question, and that's you're gold prospecting, you're woodworking, you work with your hands, you're living out in Colorado. It seems like you're kind of in this being self-sufficient vein, And
yeah.
I see some YouTube channels that are like fully off grid, living.
Yeah.
They don't wear shoes, and they get their power from a windmill and stuff. And do you think you might ever do like gardening type stuff or any more off grid type stuff?
Yeah, like I have like 1 or 2 bushcraft videos on my channel, and I'd like to do a lot more of them. I don't know if I told you before, but when I grew up, my grandparents raised me and my brother, and my grandfather was an old school World War II veteran, and he was all into hunting and fishing and camping and everything, and that's how I learned pretty much what I'm interested in today. Back then, I hated it. I hated going fishing. I hated going hunting, freezing cold and, mosquitoes eating you alive out there fishing. But that's what we did to eat and not survive. I mean, we weren't poor, but we always ate fish, rabbit, deer,
Right.
That's how we grew up.
If you can rely more on yourself and less on other people to sustain yourself, then why not?
Yeah.
That's really cool that you grew up like that. I grew up country, and we've got some podcasts of me talking about just some of the stories of growing up country, And like you said, I hated it growing up because
I did hate it.
It was just me and my brothers, getting ripped on, and I'm 6 years the youngest, so I was always the one getting put in a barrel and pushed down a hill and stuff that. But now that I'm older, it's like I'll tell these stories, and I'll even tell them on the podcast, and Matt will be like, there is no experience in my life like that because he didn't grow up country,
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm taking these things for granted and these lessons for granted. But it's like the old Mark Twain thing, like how your dad gets smarter as you get older. Like the stuff that your grandpa was teaching you makes way more sense now that you're
it does.
an adult,
Yeah.
And that's just really cool. Those World War II guys, they don't make them like that anymore.
No, the dude was like tough as nails,
Mm-hmm. For sure. So have you, with your YouTube channel, other than just running your YouTube channel, gold prospecting, bushcraft, stuff like that, are there any other hobbies that you had never really explored before that you've been able to pick up now for the first time?
Yeah. Scuba diving. Holy cow. If you've never went scuba diving, man, it really is worth it. It's expensive. Yeah. And my girlfriend she's always wanted to go scuba diving. And, my YouTube channel gave me the perfect excuse to finally put down the cash it takes. Because, it's not cheap, but man, it's so cool, man. It's so cool.
I bet. So give me some scuba diving stories. Like, give me some places you've been able to dive. And
well, that's the thing. We're just starting.
Oh,
so
okay.
We just got certified in December, and we've only been diving 3 times, and all 3 times was just for our schooling, our qualification.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't even in the ocean or anything, dude. It was at this place called Homestead Crater in Midway, Utah, of all places. And we got qualified in like mid-January, and it was like 14 degrees outside. And we're walking up to this crater. It's like a hot springs. That's what it is. They call it a crater, but it's actually like a 40-foot deep hot spring that you can scuba dive in. And we're walking up to this thing with our flippers and swim suits on, carrying these tanks, just like freezing. And yeah, man, it's 14 degrees outside, but then you get into this water, it's like 90 degrees, and you're just like, I don't want to get out.
Yeah, like a hot tub.
It was nice. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, but we do have we're gonna get our advanced certifications together pretty soon. I think we're probably gonna end up going to the Caribbean somewhere, like Cozumel or maybe even Central America, like Costa Rica or something. Just somewhere that's kind of cheap to get to and kind of cheap to stay there, because finances, obviously, nobody wants to spend a lot of money.
For sure. I had a buddy that lived in Roatan in
Oh,
Honduras.
cool.
And
Yeah.
he said you can go there and visit. Of course, he lived there, so he knew the way to do it right,
Mhm.
But he said you can go there, and the American dollar goes like really, really far there. And
Mhm.
you can just go there, and it's one of the best places in the world to scuba dive.
Yes, it is. They have one of the biggest, they're called walls or shelves or something like that. And it's just like straight down into the darkness, like craziness out there. Yeah, that's, I was looking at Roatan, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool.
Have you seen these like this guy on Facebook made this page called Storming Area 51?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think they're going to the wrong place. I think they need to go about 30 miles south to the S4 compound where the actual spacecraft and aliens are.
Oh shoot! I'm surprised. I'm surprised you know about that.
Oh, S4, absolutely.
Yeah, apparently that's where everything was transported, right? Like all the serious stuff.
Yeah, they can go to Area 51 all they want. They're not going to find anything. It's stupid. I think they're just calling it Area 51 because that's what nobody really knows what S4 is.
Yeah.
That's the whole conspiracy, is making the movies about Area 51 and distracting everybody from what's really going on. Dude, they're always a step ahead.
Oh yeah, and I think S4 has been cleared out too. So, dude, that stuff is probably in Cheyenne Mountain here in Colorado. Who knows?
Oh, wow.
It's probably under the Denver airport.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We're all gonna go missing now. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's down there with Castro and Kennedy.
Yeah,
they're
right
all
under everyone's noses.
Smoking cigars with aliens.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, like, if you were gonna go to one of those crazy government places and you could be like an apparition, like invisible, and nothing would happen, you could just go through walls and stuff, where do you think you'd go?
See, I wouldn't know how to answer that question, but it would be wherever the aliens are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, because we don't know where the aliens are.
Yeah, for sure. I'd want to know so much more about that. Like, I feel like, whoever gets elected president, they get so much more information after they're elected that they didn't know before. And they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet there's way more to that job than we could ever imagine. Like, they get all this, who killed Kennedy and where the aliens are stuff. And then they're like, holy crap, I just aged 15 years.
Or it just kind of goes off their shoulder. Because, like, here's what, I don't know if you guys saw the Bob Lazar interview on Joe Rogan. The guy worked in S4. He knows that there's 9 alien spacecraft, all different shapes, all different, basically the same sizes, but they all run on this gravitational reactor or something that has that deuterium-115 in it. That, back in the 70s, he knew about it, and it wasn't confirmed to be an actual element until very recently. So, I mean,
wow.
Just crazy stuff. Like, I mean, and you can tell the guy's telling the truth in the podcast. It's like, dude, this guy is like, he actually worked there, and he worked on the propulsion systems for alien aircraft. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
I must not have seen that one, because that doesn't ring a bell, because I feel like it would.
Write it down, or just listen when you listen to this again. Bob Lazar, Boblazar, Joe Rogan, and just watch the whole 2 hours. It's worth it. There's
also like I think like a movie or a documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, there is. There is. I didn't see it though.
And I think he said like the aliens are like super small, right? They're not like our size or anything.
As far as I know, that's what he thinks, because inside he never actually saw an alien, but he saw the inside of the craft, and he said that the seats are so small they're not for humans.
Oh wow.
And they're not even, and everything on the inside, there's no angles, there's no seams. Everything is connected. Like, imagine if the inside of a room was just completely welded to make the inside of a room. Like, everything is just like molded aluminum, all one piece.
Oh wow.
It's like impossible to make as a human. Like, you guys got to watch that thing.
I'm probably gonna watch it right after this.
Do it.
It's super interesting.
It's worth it.
Just because I was listening to a podcast where they talk about they talk like minorly about like the whole his situation. But I'm surprised that like he's going around saying this kind of stuff and like not seeing any like repercussions to him.
Well, the thing is, he did have a lot of like if you watch the podcast, he explains it like how they ruined not only his life but everybody that he's known, friends, family. They ruined their lives, and he has nothing to lose anymore. So he's just going around pretty much.
Got you.
You know what I mean? It's crazy, dude. That's why nobody else is coming out and saying anything that's worked there before, because same thing will happen to them. So crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Also, I loved in your, I was just really like, we have a whole podcast talking about the Denver airport. So that was like really one of my favorite of your videos when you're looking at the paintings, because they actually look a lot bigger than I thought they would.
They're huge.
And and then like you walk behind it and you try to open that door. I remember I laughed out loud when you did that. I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I would do that myself, but it was really cool.
Dude, I figured, hey, if I'm gonna get kicked out, at least I'll get it on camera, you know.
That was awesome.
I was at the point where I didn't care.
That was dope. Would you recommend people living in Colorado?
Are you asking if I would recommend people to live here?
Yeah.
I would say if you plan on moving to Colorado, I would say save up a couple $1,000 before you move here, because, you know, save at least $4,000, $5,000 to be safe, because man, just to rent an apartment, you're going to pay, like right now I'm paying $18.85 a month for a small apartment, and you know, you have to put $18.85 down for a security deposit. Plus you have to pay your $18.85 for your rent, and it's monthly. You're getting everything connected. It's going to cost you $5,000 to move here. That's where I'm in Golden, Colorado, though. It's kind of one of the more expensive areas of Denver. However, I could go move down to Canyon City, Colorado, where my girlfriend's parents live, and you can buy a house. Like I could buy a house down there and still not be completely bankrupt. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's much more affordable down there. Colorado Springs is a little more affordable than Denver, Golden area. But you get, the way I look at it is you kind of get what you pay for as far as convenience. You get the mountains, you get the outdoors. However, you can also move to Wyoming and get the same outdoor experience, but you're not going to have, you know, your favorite Vietnamese noodle soup restaurant right down the street like I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all about the convenience, and of course there's the cannabis legalization here and everything, where my girlfriend smokes like a chimney. I don't smoke at all, but that's another one. Because
you have they said you had a bad back and stuff.
Yeah, and
you might have been doing that.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely, when I first moved here, I tried it, but I also, for some reason, it's super potent here, and like I get anxiety. Like, I don't know if you probably heard about people getting paranoid or whatever when you smoke. I get, sometimes it's unpredictable. I'll get, you know, undesirable mental effects from it. So I try to stay away from it as much as I can. It's not worth it for me. Doesn't relax me. My brain moves too fast, I think, for it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the same way my friend is. Like he says that like if he's ever gonna do it, it's just like one puff. Because anymore, he just like on the couch freaking out.
Yes, it sucks, man, and that's how I am too. So I don't know. It's not for me, you know. But my girlfriend smokes like a chimney. She's crazy. Something wrong with him. Like, aren't you super high? She's like, I don't get high anymore. Like, are you serious? Wow, you just smoked a whole joint. Like, and this is powerful stuff.
Matt actually just got back from Denver. He was on there on vacation for a week, and he said that he indulged in the edibles, right?
Oh, those things are nuts.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know if you heard earlier, Spike, but I was telling him like about like living in Colorado, because you always hear like people want to go to like live in Florida or New York or like LA, California. And those places are like overly expensive because just everyone's going there.
Sure.
And I think like a cool place for me like just to live for a year or whatnot is like Colorado. It seems very like I've gone there like 3 times, and it's just like very relaxed. People are just really nice, you know.
Yeah.
Like I've never had any troubles there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The traffic isn't nearly as bad as LA or New York. People are way more like laid back, like you said. I mean, weed is legal here. Mushrooms are decriminalized here. It's like, it's pretty chill,
Well, Matt and I talked about this on our last podcast, actually, about, let's say they legalized, like we went into this rabbit hole of what if they legalized everything?
Yeah.
Has there been, since the decriminalization of mushrooms, has there been an influx of mushroom use that you've noticed, or is it just kind of not really as big of a deal as the rest of the country makes it out to be?
I never noticed it before, and I haven't noticed any after. So I have nobody's ever come up to me like, "Hey man, you want to buy some mushrooms?" Like, no, it never happened before, and it never happened recently. So, no.
Yeah. See, that's something that I talked about in our last episode, was how there might be kind of an initial, whoa, yeah, let's party, they're legal now, but then it would just be a thing.
Yeah,
and then everybody would kind of calm down.
It's kind of just a thing. It's just normal, It's not and you can't buy them at a dispensary either. Because my girlfriend asked, she's like, "When are you guys going to get mushrooms in?" She was just curious. I don't think she would do them anyway, but she's just asked, and they said, "Oh, we're never, as far as I know, we're not getting anything like that because they're not legal. They're just decriminalized. It's not legal."
You still get a ticket, right?
I don't think the cops would even care, to be honest with you. He probably wouldn't give you a ticket.
Huh.
I think it's actually okay to grow them and use them. It's just, I think it's illegal to sell them at this point. It's the same thing that happened with cannabis here, 10 years ago or whatever it was. Same thing. It's just a matter of time, and then they'll be selling them in the dispensaries like they do in Amsterdam. You could buy mushrooms in Amsterdam.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's you were talking about episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast. Have you ever seen the Paul Stamets episode?
Oh, yeah.
The mushroom guy?
Dude, and that's the reason I take lion's mane mushroom every morning.
Yeah, that episode, I didn't think it was going to be super interesting, but I immediately was like, we're going to start a mushroom bed.
Yeah.
It was so crazy how the power that the fungi has.
Mm-hmm. It's the closest thing to magical plants that you can get, and they don't have to be psychedelic to be magical. Like the lion's mane mushroom, there's been tests on rats or mice or whatever that they do improve memory and can possibly cure Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah, that's
what? So I take it every morning now, just in case, because my grandmother ended up with dementia. So I mean, that was terrible. I don't know if you ever met anybody that had dementia.
My grandmother also had dementia late in life as well, so I know what you're talking about.
So I mean, that's something that I definitely do not want to end up with. So lion's mane, 3 pills every morning.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. I might look into that too. I haven't actually pulled the trigger on any of that, but that's really cool.
Were there any channels kind of taught you the ways of okay, now I need to get a metal detector and I get this, you know what I mean? Kind of piecing it together.
Absolutely. So whoever's listening, make sure you check out Aqua Chigger, all one word, Aqua Chigger on YouTube. He's the guy that I saw first with a metal detector on YouTube, and I saw he lives back east. He lives in Maryland, I think, and Virginia, where the old Civil War stuff is. And man, this guy, he's going around finding all these old Civil War relics and old coins. I'm talking, he found handfuls of giant silver coins the one time in this riverbed. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
The guy found thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of silver coins, rare silver coins. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a metal detector. And this was back in 2012, way before I even thought about YouTube, as far as filming what I do. And I've been metal detecting since about 2012 after seeing Aqua Chigger on YouTube. So he's the main inspiration for my show.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
I had a teacher in middle school who would pretty much map out where a lot of the battles took out.
Oh, yeah.
He would have a bunch of musket bullets in class. It was really cool.
Yeah, dude. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you could definitely find that stuff with a metal detector and everything. I found them before. It's cool. It's definitely cool when you pick that up and you're like, wow, the last time somebody's actually held this in their hand was during the Civil War. You know what I mean? It's really neat. If you're into history, some people could care less, but to me, it's so neat,
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
So what are some of the places that are on your bucket list to go and prospect?
Okay, so in northern Finland, if you're familiar with geography, there's a place called Lapland, Finland. I want to go up there. I already knocked out Australia this year. So that was on my bucket list. And then Alaska, I'm going to Alaska next week. Matter of fact, what's today, the 20th? Yeah, in 1 week from today, I'll be in British Columbia panning for gold up on the Fraser River, and then the whole entire following week. So from the 28th all the way up until August 8th, I'll be in Alaska gold prospecting. And yeah, that's one of my bucket lists. But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any place else. Pretty much anywhere you point to on the map, if I haven't been there yet, or if I have been there yet, I'll be happy to go back and dip a pen in the river and see what I could find.
So I feel like most of us, at least I'm assuming most of us in the United States, are familiar with the gold rush and with Alaska and the West Coast and the gold there. But what's in Finland? Tell me about Finland more.
I don't know too much about natural gold up there, but I do know that there's a city up there that was founded on gold mining. And I have a friend, Simo, he lives up in Finland, and he was telling me about, the Lapland gold and everything. And another woman that lives up there, Paulina, she's the one that was telling me about it. And I got to go up there and check it out. It's one of those, another bucket list place. I don't know how much is there. And really, dude, if you've watched my videos, I don't really care if there's a lot of gold. I just like getting out there and trying to find it. It's just, it makes for an interesting show. Whether I find it or not, most people don't care.
The experience alone, I feel like, is far worth it, because
that's the treasure. Yep.
Yeah, Scandinavia is beautiful. And actually, Mad was on vacation this past week, and I'm going on vacation this coming week. I'm going to Iceland with my wife.
Oh, that'll be nice, man. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, and we try to do an international trip every year, and just seeing different parts of the world and experiencing their culture. And it's not enough to just go to a restaurant and be like, oh, this is good food. Like, you got to go to the place. You got to see it. Those are the things that I'm not even a huge fan of buying souvenirs. I'm a fan of you got to see it with your eyes, and you bring back the souvenirs in your brain. It's really irreplaceable to you just got to go. You got to go do it.
You got to experience it. I 100% agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's so cool, man. You're going to have so much fun over there. It's expensive. I mean, you probably already know that it's not going to be cheap for certain things there.
Yeah, that's for sure. We're pretty frugal, and we've been mapping it out, and we've been researching this for a year. Like, after the yearly trip, we start researching the next trip. So nice. we have an idea of what's going on, but of course we haven't been there yet. So we don't know if everything looks great on paper when you write it down, but you don't know how well it's going to work out until you're actually doing it.
That's part of the fun. I travel a few times a year, and I've learned that you kind of end up, even though I could have my itinerary planned out like page by page, per day, per hour, it's never going to happen that way. And always just the best way sometimes is just to wing it,
Yeah.
And not worry about the planning. Just wing it,
Just Shia LaBeouf. Just do it.
just do it.
Just get out there and do it. We're gonna put that on a T-shirt. Klesh Guitar, Purgatory Podcast merch.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you got my permission. That's cool. I want one though. I need one.
For sure. You'd be the first one right off the press.
Nice.
I was gonna ask what's the coolest thing you think you found? I mean, besides gold, because I've seen that like you found phones and like rings, and you found a lot of bottle caps. But like, what's the thing that you saw? You're like, oh, that's dope. That you were happy about.
Well, it's funny. It's one of my more recent videos. It's not a ring or anything. It's actually a really interesting find, I think. If you look at the thumbnail, it says "Strange Relic," and I had no idea what it was when I made the video. When I posted the video, I let it up to the commenters to decide what it was, and right away, people were like, "Oh, I know what that is," and it ended up being the thermometer radiator cap gauge for a Model T from the 1920s. Like, that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
The thing that you put that's right on the front of a Model T, like right on the hood emblem.
Yeah.
One of those. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then they were sending me pictures of Model Ts with that little thing on top. I'm like, yes.
That's so cool.
I had no idea what it was when I dug it up. No idea.
Yeah. Not only is it awesome that you found that, and it's a very interesting relic, but it's so cool that you engage with your audience that way. You know?
like your
And it was
community
like
helps you.
we're in this together. Let's figure this out. You know?
Absolutely. I'm no expert, and I'll say that. I'll admit that to everybody. I'm no expert. You know, I have no idea what I'm doing out there. I just swing the detector around and dig. You know, so yeah, it's fun for everybody. You know, everybody gets to participate.
Do you use Reddit at all to like either promote your videos or kind of like talk with other like prospectors on there?
I'm really bad with social media as far as, I mean, Facebook is probably, you know, that's for most of the older people.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, I do have an Instagram account, and I have, I don't know, a couple hundred followers only, but the only reason I have a couple hundred followers is because when Lad Bible put up one of my viral videos, I told them to throw my Instagram in there just to see what would happen. And, you know, I would get hundreds of subscribers every day just out of nowhere. But I rarely post anything on there. But yeah, I kind of forgot your question. What were you saying? Something with social media.
Oh, no, just about Reddit. Just because
he was saying, what do you use to promote? I guess was.
Pretty
much. No, nothing really. Just YouTube, to be honest with you. Yep, just YouTube.
Well, that's yeah, we're trying to promote everywhere we can, but I think it's just going to be a matter of time. And with podcasting, we're not posting like the easy to consume 4-minute, 5-minute videos. We're posting like hour-long videos.
Sure.
You know, so it's
people like to, dude. People like to sit down and listen to a conversation. It could be 5 minutes. It could be an hour long. But, you know, now if it's an hour long and people are driving to work, doesn't take most people to drive an hour to work. They're only going to be able to catch the 15 minutes of it. Mm-hmm. But they might come back to it. I don't know, like a Joe Rogan podcast. They specifically, even though he has a 2-hour podcast or however long it is, they do have clips that 20-minute little sections.
Right.
You know, and so that's kind of difficult in the editing end of it, I would guess. Trying to figure out what 20 minutes to edit. But yeah, I mean, you can have an hour-long conversation and keep it interesting and fun the whole way through. I listen to hour-long podcasts, you know, quite often. So
we need to hire a Jamie to edit.
Yeah, you need to definitely make things a lot easier.
That's a Craigslist post if I've ever seen one. We're looking for someone named Jamie that wears hoodies.
Hiring Jamie.
Yeah.
Must be named Jamie.
Yeah, must have an extensive collection of zip-up hoodies.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I have any more left. We're getting close to an hour. Do you have anything for us, Shane?
Well, I just wish you guys the best luck, and I appreciate you guys trying to contact me. So yeah, anytime you want me to come back on the show, I'm sure there's going to be plenty more guys that you can get on here. So best of luck with your podcast. If you have anything else for me, you got my contact information. If you have any more questions that you forgot to ask or anything like that. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
I'm glad you came on. Like, I can assume in the future we're gonna have guests that maybe I'm not so interested in, but I think your channel is actually like good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna keep watching and like subscribe for sure. Like, I actually like enjoyed the videos like a lot. They're really cool.
That's cool, man. I like hearing that you know, that keeps me motivated to keep doing what I do, and I enjoy it. And as long as, you know, if I stop enjoying it, I'll just let you guys know on the videos. Be like, listen, I'm not enjoying it, but I can't see that ever happening, dude. It's so much fun doing what I do. I enjoy it. So it's like, I look forward. I'm always thinking of new ideas too, you know.
Well, everybody check out Klesh Guitars YouTube channel, Mr. Shane. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks a lot, man.
So tell your friends, tell your fam. Keep tuning in for your weekly trip to Purgatory.